Yann LeCun, the man who won a Turing Award for deep learning, has left Meta. After 12 years of building one of the most powerful AI labs, he has decided to go and work on something else, because he believes the technology powering ChatGPT, Claude and Llama is, in his words, a dead end. He is working on something else. He calls them world models. So today we're going to break down the deep theory behind LeCun's new architecture, and then we're going to ask the trillion-dollar question: are we going to hit a wall with LLMs? For the last few years, there's been a philosophical divide, not just of Meta, but across the AI labs. On one side, you have Zuck and the product team sprinting to release Llama 4, trying to dominate the generative AI market, as all the labs are. On the other side, you have Yann LeCun, the chief AI scientist. Now, while the product teams are obviously celebrating benchmarks, LeCun tell anyone that listened that LLMs are flawed. His argument is that LLMs don't actually understand reality. They just predict the next word based on statistics. This friction reached a breaking point as LeCun has now launched AMI Labs, a new venture focused entirely on an architecture he calls JEPA. He believes this new architecture has a better chance of getting us to AGI than LLMs do. So why does he think that LLMs can't take us to AGI? Well, to understand LeCun's bet, we've got to understand some of the perceived flaws in LLMs. LeCun argues that text is a very low bandwidth compression of the world. If you train an AI on all of the text on the internet, it still doesn't really know what gravity feels like. It doesn't understand that if you drop a glass, it breaks. It only knows that the words glass and break often appear together, and this is fundamental to understanding why LLMs hallucinate. They don't have a grounded truth, they only have probability. Now, LeCun's solution is to stop trying to predict the next word, to start predicting the next state of the world. This brings us to one of the most famous essays in computer science, The Bitter Lesson by Richard Sutton. Sutton argued that in the long run, the only methods that work are the ones that leverage massive computation, specifically search and learning. We shouldn't try to hand code human knowledge into AI. We should build systems that learn from scale. Now, LLM believers think they're just following the bitter lesson. They say, if we just add more compute and more text data, an AGI will emerge. But LeCun disagrees. He argues that LLMs are actually inefficient at scaling because they try to generate every single detail, like every pixel in a video or every word in a book. And this is where world models come in. LeCun's architecture, JEPA, Joint Embedding Predictive Architecture, doesn't try to generate the video of a car crash. It tries to predict the outcome of the crash in an abstract space. By ignoring the noise, the pixels, and focusing on the signal, that's the physics, the actual concepts, world models can learn from video and sensor data much faster than LLM. They learn how the world works, not just what the world says. So where then are we going? Well, first of all, if LeCun is indeed right, and we are moving away from the era of generative AI into the era of physical AI, then this does change the infrastructure game completely, because training world models not only requires massive compute, but running them is not really going to happen in a centralized data center. If an AI needs to understand the world in real time to drive a car or to control a robot, it almost certainly needs to run at the edge. You can't wait 500 milliseconds for a server in Virginia to tell your robot arm, don't crush this egg. LeCun's vision of AGI isn't a chatbot that writes poetry, it's a digital brain that understands cause and effect, and that requires a completely different kind of compute and a completely different kind of cloud. LeCun is obviously taking a bit of a risk here. He's betting that the Transformer era is not going to work out. And if that's true, then LLMs might be a big bubble. So what do you think? Is LeCun right? Are LLMs hitting a wall? And do you think 2026 will be the year when we reach the end point of LLMs and we realize that this is not the way to AGI? Or do you think LLMs are going to be here to stay for the next few years? I personally think that there is space for both LLMs and for what LeCun is building. And to get to true AGI, it might be that we need a combination of both a predictive technology and a world-building, world-learning technology as well. Let me know what you think in the comments. Super curious to hear your thoughts.